The Haunting of Highway 666. It was a dark and stormy night, the kind of night where you just want to stay indoors and never venture out. But for Sarah, she had no choice. She was on her way home from a business trip and had to take the highway, despite the weather. As she drove down the deserted road, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She checked her rearview mirror but saw nothing. She turned up the radio to distract herself from her unease, but the static was all she heard. Suddenly, she saw something in the distance. At first, she thought it was just a trick of the light, but as she got closer, she realized it was a figure standing in the middle of the road. She hit the brakes, but it was too late. The figure was hit and flew onto her windshield before falling to the ground. Shaken, Sarah got out of her car to see if the person was okay, but as she approached, she saw that the figure was not a person at all, but a ghostly apparition. It was a woman in a long, white dress with a face twisted in agony. Sarah screamed and ran back to her car, but as she turned to leave, she saw more ghostly figures in the distance. They were all standing on the side of the road, watching her with hollow eyes. Terrified, Sarah drove away as fast as she could, but as she sped down the road, the ghosts seemed to follow her. They appeared in her rearview mirror, their faces contorted in pain. She tried to shake them off, but they stayed with her, haunting her every move. As she approached a tunnel, she saw the ghosts disappear into the darkness. But as she entered the tunnel, she felt a chill run down her spine. It was as if the ghosts were all around her, pressing in on her from all sides. Suddenly, her car stalled. She tried to start it again, but it wouldn't budge. She was trapped in the tunnel, surrounded by the ghosts. They closed in on her, their ghostly forms reaching out to touch her. She screamed for help, but no one came. Hours later, the police found Sarah's car abandoned in the tunnel. They searched for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Some say that she was taken by the ghosts, trapped in their world forever. Others say that she was driven insane by the experience, and that she still haunts the highway to this day. And so, the legend of the highway ghosts lives on, a warning to all who dare to travel down that desolate road on a dark and stormy night. Over the years, many people have reported seeing the highway ghosts both on the road and in the tunnel. Some claim to have seen Sarah herself, wandering the highway in a daze, her eyes filled with terror. As time went by, the highway ghosts became the stuff of urban legend. Stories of their haunting spread like wildfire, and the road was avoided by most people, especially at night. But there were always those who were drawn to the legends, who sought out the paranormal and the supernatural. One group of young thrill seekers decided to venture onto the highway on a dark and stormy night. They had heard the stories of the highway ghosts, and were eager to see if they were true. They piled into a car and set off, laughing and joking, confident in their bravery. As they drove down the road, they saw nothing out of the ordinary. But as they approached the tunnel, the car suddenly stalled. They tried to start it again, but it wouldn't budge. They were trapped in the tunnel, surrounded by darkness and the sound of their own breathing. Suddenly, they heard a sound. It was a low, mournful wail coming from somewhere deep in the tunnel. They felt a chill run down their spines as they realized that the highway ghosts were all around them. The ghosts appeared in the darkness, their faces twisted in agony. The young thrill seekers screamed and cowered, huddled together in terror. But the ghosts did not harm them. Instead, they seemed to be beckoning them, calling them into their world. One by one, the young people disappeared into the darkness, pulled into the world of the highway ghosts. They were never seen again. From that day forward, the legend of the highway ghosts took on a new level of terror. It was no longer just a story, but a warning to all who dared to tempt fate. The road was avoided by all but the bravest or most foolish, and even they did so with a sense of unease. Years later, a group of paranormal investigators decided to investigate the legend of the highway ghosts. They set up cameras and equipment in the tunnel, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. But as they worked, they felt a sense of unease, as if they were being watched. The cameras picked up strange, ghostly images, and the investigators felt a chill run down their spines. As they were packing up their equipment, they heard a sound. It was a low, mournful wail coming from somewhere deep in the tunnel. They realized too late that they had made a grave mistake, that they had ventured too far into the world of the highway ghosts. They were never seen again, and the legend of the highway ghosts lives on, a warning to all who dare to seek out the paranormal and the supernatural. The road remains deserted, haunted by the spirits of those who died there. their tortured souls trapped in an endless cycle of fear and despair.